In 2002, you worked with Mudvayne, the album "The End of All Things to Come." It seems like you're just working with bands that have absolute world-class musicianship. Um, is that something that stood out to you about Mudvayne? Is that each of those musicians are just incredible
Oh,
musicians
for
on their
sure,
instruments?
for sure, really great. I mean, Greg, obviously great riff player, but it's funny how he kind of ends up being almost like the sort of the rhythm bass player in that band, and Ryan ends up being the melody player because he's such an incredible virtuoso on bass. Um, yeah, again, a group of super talented musicians and a great singer. Um, Same sort of thing. It was just a different flavor because Mudvayne so much had their character by the fluidity of the bass sound.
When I was 17, I did a road trip with my parents from Ottawa to Toronto for Canadian Music Week, and I saw Mudvayne. I was 17, and this unknown trio band, they looked like teenagers, opened, and it was 3 Days Grace. So nobody knew them at the time. A few months later, maybe, I don't know, a year later, I Hate Everything About You blows up on radio. They've been one of the biggest bands since then. So I got to see this double bill with 3 Days Grace and Mudvayne. And
Nice.
man, Mudvayne, I remember the lights came on, just blinding white lights, and everyone kind of has to turn away. And then the lights go off, and when you look, the members are all on stage in their place, and then they just dropped into the songs, and it was like breathtaking.
Yeah, very exciting live for sure. They put on a great show. It's quite an assault what they do, but in the
An
best
assault on
way.
the senses. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wanted to ask you, because you've worked with these bands that are so complex and so intricate and such amazing musicians. Is it ever intimidating going into a project where you know a band's going to do this insanely epic album with crazy epic songs with very very intense parts, crazy time signatures? Is it ever intimidating before starting a project, thinking like, how am I going to capture all of this into one package? And do you ever just think, man, I want to go record a straight up pop artist that's going to do 3 minute songs, 4 chords? Do you ever think that, or is that just me?
I think I attract to myself the kind of band that has intricate parts and intricate compositions. So it's not really intimidating to me anymore. At the beginning, which would have been really the King Crimson or something like that, but I mean, I kind of grew up doing music like that already, so it's not really been anything I ever overthought. It was just like, okay, well, here's a song and it's this length, and let's see what the best way is to record it. And let's record it and get it down and mix it in the way that all the important parts you can hear them very well. So yeah, it would be fun to do something different in the sense of simplicity. But I would probably want to fill it up with a few things because that's sort of what I'm used to. But yeah, having something simple and non-complex would be fun to do
Someday. So I have another.
I just don't get those calls, Joel.
Nobody calls. I feel like it's self-inflicted pain with all these super difficult projects. Yeah. You're a glutton for pain in the musical realm.
Well, people look at your history and say, well, he does that, so okay, let's call him.
I have another comment sent in here. This is from a Juno Award-winning engineer mixer that's worked with Olivia Rodrigo, Jason Mraz, Snoop Dogg. So this is from Vic Florencia.
Oh, yeah, Vic.
So he says, David, we all know him as an awesome engineer, producer, mixer. Besides having great ears, he has a wonderful heart. He's always eager to share his wealth of knowledge and offer advice. I'm honored to call him a friend. He's so good, it's ridiculous. Now back to us figuring out the whole Atmos thing. LOL. Was that Dolby Atmos? Is
that's it? Yeah. So Vic and Ryan and I, we've been spending a bunch of time trying to work out the Atmos mixing, and I did an Atmos mix for the Mastodon record that I just did. And so we're all fairly new at it. It's pretty exciting. it's kind of like the Wild West, where there's lots of different standards and nobody's really figured out exactly how it's supposed to go. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to mix in Atmos. You get a lot more dimension to work with. So and yeah, I mean, Vic's he's becoming a master at it. So I was up at his studio the other day and he was playing me some stuff and it just blows me away. He was so good. So yeah, he's way ahead of me on that for sure. I'm trying to catch up. I'm one of the old guys now, trying to catch up to the young bucks.
Is that what we're hearing with spatial audio? Is that the same thing or no?
Spatial audio, I think, is a different format. I think that's more of a Sony format. Atmos is Dolby. So I believe, I could be wrong, don't quote me on that, but I think spatial audio is more of a Sony thing, kind of like VHS Betamax kind of thing.
And this is different.
Atmos was developed by.
Okay, and this is different than surround sound. So this is a different thing.
It is surround sound. No, it's surround sound. It's immersive audio. So it is. There are speakers everywhere, but it translates as well to binaural in just stereo headphones. Apple iPods do the proper one that even is sort of location based. So when you turn your head, the music stays there, kind of thing, which is a little bit weird for me. But they do the binaural, so it translates to binaural 5171. And then full Atmos. The system kind of, in a magical way that I only so much understand, seems to know what your playback situation is and adapts itself to fit that playback situation.